Hello and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. Today I'm going to show you a new instrument. It's basically for children. It's like a toy, but it really isn't. It has a lot of characteristics about it that I like. And I bought it yesterday at a big box store for a little less than $20, between $19 and $20. And I think it was well worth the money. I know I went in the store, I'm in it fairly often, and I saw it and I thought, I don't know. Some of these children's toys, music toys, aren't very good. They make a sound, or they're so faint you can't hear them, or they're really off pitch. And I wasn't particularly interested in buying it. But then I kept thinking about it. I couldn't get it off my mind. And so the following day, which was yesterday, I went in and I said, I'm going to buy it if they still have it. And so they had 2 or 3 of them. And this was, I think, the best one that they had. Of course, I had to try them all and see which one sounded the best. And this was it. There's a lot of interesting things about this. This is called an animal piano because it has the dog on top. And it does have a little button you can push, and all of the notes come out like little puppy barks. And you can record them. You can actually, there's a microphone here, and you can sing to whatever. When you press the record button, you can get the puppy you can get the sounds of the puppy, and then you can sing to it. You can sing and record what you sing. I've never removed the microphone. I have it on the on switch, and so I'm going to play a little of the piano, and I'll tell you what I think is good about it. Whoops, I thought I had it on. It's hard to do it when I'm singing it in the opposite direction. This is the piano. It plays 2 notes at a time. You can't play a chord. You can only play 2 notes at a time. And this is the piano sound. The thing about this is that it's in perfect pitch. And it's got a little over a 2-octave range, which is what I usually work with recorders anyway. Here you have... There's your C, and then another C up here. It's 2 octaves and 2 notes, and that's what a lot of the woodwind instruments get, 2 octaves, and sometimes you can fudge 2 or 3 extra notes. The flute does a lot more than that. The saxophone does more than that. The clarinets do more than that, but a lot of the woodwind instruments are basically 2-octave instruments, and this is in perfect pitch. When I got it home, I decided, I'm going to check it. I didn't expect it to be in perfect pitch, but I was really surprised that it was in perfect pitch. And it's in pitch with itself. The pitch doesn't wander off, Some of these toys, they wander off. You don't get a full pitch, or the last few notes are a little bit sharp or a little bit flat or whatever. This is perfect pitch all the way through. And actually, they have different sounds that you can get. They have, like for example, here's an organ sound. And it's not too bad. You can get a trumpet sound. That's not trumpet, let me see. It is trumpet. That's supposedly a trumpet sound. They have a violin sound, which doesn't sound right. And they have something called a music box. Now, the music box would be like a xylophone. There are 4 or 5 settings you can use. You can get it to bark. Now, there's little tones. I don't know if you could pick that up. And you can actually record yourself singing to the barking puppy by using this microphone, which I'm not going to bother. I haven't taken it out, and I'm not going to bother with it. You can have settings for different types of drum sounds. Only to get it to stop, you have to shut it off. And then it'll stop. You can even change the speed of the drum sounds. You can make them faster or slower. There's a button for that. And it is lightweight, and it has a handle in the back. It runs on 4 batteries, and the four AA batteries, and it's replaceable. You have to use a little screwdriver to get it out, but it's replaceable. So when the batteries die, then you can just replace it with more batteries. So I think it would be more or less a long-lasting thing. And there's a volume switch. You can make the sounds louder or softer, which every parent will appreciate. It has feet on it, these little rubber feet in the back, that you can put it down and it'll stay because of those little rubber feet. And the only thing that I had a little problem with is the fact that it came in a box, but the box only covered the back end of it. So, and it was really hard to take it off from the box. But that's just a minor issue. As far as the instrument is concerned, it's good. Handled for you to carry it with, the little puppy in the front, the puppy sounds, and the volume, the pitch, the different settings, the fact you can sing to it and record, which will interest, I think, most children. And so I think it's really quite a good deal for the price. And I think I'm probably going to bring it back on occasion because of the fact that I'd like to have a little keyboard. I can play it in my lap. I can show you things, the sharps, the flats, and all of that. And it'll be loud enough to be heard, but it won't be heavy to carry. I carry a lot of instruments, and sometimes I have to limit myself in terms of what I bring because of the weight of them. I don't have any way to store them here in the studio. And of course, I wouldn't want to store them here because I use them. I use them in rehearsals. I use them when I teach, you know, so they have to come back and forth with me. So I have to have things that are easier to carry. And so, and of course, with this, you can always put it on your lap. It's flat, and you can put it on your lap. Now, I haven't done that because you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. But you can do that. And then in the back is this little handle. So it actually, it might be a little big for some children, for some younger children to put in their lap. So you might want to put it on a card table or something like that. But it is really quite a nice little instrument, and it's loud enough to be heard. Now, I play various instruments, and I'm not a keyboard artist, but I do play various keyboards. Let's see what's going on. This is what I ended up when, let me see. You can play various songs. I'm trying to figure out where. Well, I got it on the puppy. I can't seem to get it off the puppy. Well, kids will enjoy it, but what I like about it is the fact that it has the piano setting and the other settings, and the fact that it's in perfect pitch. You could actually teach. I could actually teach from it. All right, that's what I was looking for. I don't know how many verses of that. It has 7 children's songs on it, which I think children would like. I don't like to listen to that all the time. But at any rate, I think for kids it's good. And I think even for an adult, or for me to use it as an adult to show people things about the keyboard. For example, sharps and flats. I don't want the puppy setting right now. But anyway, if I'm saying that a sharp will make a note higher, I seem to get it stuck on the puppy. Okay, so if I want to say this is an F, whoops. If I want it sharp, I say a sharp is a half a step higher. This is lower. All right, so a half a step higher is right here, and a half a step lower would be the flat. Here is your A. A flat is going to be this. That's a half a step lower from an A. A G, that would be sharp. When I talk about enharmonic notes, where the note is the same, but it can be a sharp in one direction or a flat in the other direction, depending upon how you're playing it. Let me see. Okay, so this is a G. This is a flat. This is a sharp. Now, I'm always showing you a keyboard in which there are half steps in areas that have no black notes. Right here, we have the C to the B. That's a half step. That would be a full step. From here to here is a half step. That's a full step. So when you get in these areas where there's no black notes, that's going to be a half step. That's going to be a full step. Half step. So you can see it. Or if I want to demonstrate that, I can do it on a recorder, but if you can actually see it on a keyboard, it may make more sense to you, because now you can see how the notes are arranged. I really think that people who teach music, who teach brass, who teach woodwinds, they need to have a piano or something similar handy as they teach, because they can show things on a keyboard that you can demonstrate on the other instruments. But it's nice to be able to see how it is on a keyboard, because the keyboard is the basis for it all. And so this here would be the low C. Remember, I have shown you pictures of the keyboard. This is the low C. And then I talk about the octave up, which is going to be, whoops. Okay, that's low C. C to the, see, I can't do it backwards. And that's a perfect octave. When I say an octave is 8 notes, and one note just repeats the other note to the beginning and the end, you can see it on a keyboard. If I want to demonstrate the sharps and the flats and what they're like and how they're related to each other, I can demonstrate that on a keyboard. I can play it on the other wooden instruments, or I could play it on the other woodwinds, or we could play it on the brass. But you need to be able to see it, which is why I bring in so many charts that have keyboards on them, because you can. Now you can actually see it and see how it's arranged, and it makes a difference that way. So this is the little one, and it's between $19 and $20, and I think it was well worth its price, just to show you the things that I need to show you. So I may at some point just bring it in so I can use it as a keyboard, just to show you the relationship of notes to each other, which is really handy to know if you're a musician, whether you play piano or not. Now in the church that I attend, I'm doing organ, piano, and woodwinds, and I kind of mix it up. And because there are settings on some of the other keyboards that I have then I can do high descant songs, I can do bell settings, I can do xylophone settings, I can do any number, trumpet settings, synth settings, violin settings, and get all kinds of different sounds out of them. And it makes the music very interesting, which is, I think, one of the reasons that a lot of churches have given up regular pianos and they're going to keyboards that have all those different settings to them. And the organ is always very nice. This isn't bad for an organ setting, even though it's small. Usually the louder it is, that's the organ setting. So anyway, you're going to probably see more of this. I'm going to turn it off now. There. It almost went back to the puppy setting. I don't know why it keeps doing that. At any rate, that's that. So let's go, and I do have some time left. I want to start showing you some of these things I've got up here. And these are accidentals. And I'll use my regular recorder to show you this. This is a G. Remember the fingerings of the instrument, B, A, G, F, E, D, and C. B, A, G, F, E, D. When I was teaching in a school system, this is what I emphasized the most. If you know these 6 notes, then you know what the scale is, because the scale is just 2 notes, 1 note above and 1 note below. But these are the 6 most common notes, B, A, G, F, E, D. So this is the G right here, and here it is right here. This is the F just below it, and this is the F sharp, then the F natural, and the G. Now I'm going to look at this, but I'm going to finger it on the recorder if you can pick that up. This is G, F, F sharp, F again, and G. When you play the G, and that's this note, and then you want the F sharp, you just put this middle finger down, and you skip this one here. If you want the F, then you put this one down, B, A, G, F. But to get it sharp, F sharp is a very common sharp used in music. You pick up that F, that F finger, and you skip it, and you put this down instead. F, F sharp, G, G, F, F sharp. Oops, I'm sorry. G, F, F sharp, like that. G, F, F sharp. And then back to G. Now let's look at the next one, which would be B, B flat, and then B natural, which is the same as this. This is flatted. So that means if this was an actual a song and it had measures in it, then this would have to ordinarily be flatted too, because a accidental flatter sharp goes for the whole measure. It doesn't go beyond that measure, but just for that one measure. But if you want this the way it was to begin with, you put your natural sign right here, and that makes it the same as this. It goes back to natural. So I'm going to finger this out, and you can kind of watch this on the recorder as I do this. Here's your B. Well, here's your B. Here's your B flat. To make it natural again, just lift up that finger, and you've got your B again. And to make that really a good B flat, I may add another couple of fingers on my right hand. You can tell it deepens the tone a little bit. It's a little bit deeper, so oftentimes I do that because it's a Baroque instrument. It makes it a little bit more accurate in its tone. But if I want that back to a B natural, which is this, I put that sign, I put that natural sign back on. Then this is the C and this is the A. So if you watch my fingers here for a minute, this is going to be the C, and the A is just put that second finger down. Here's your C, and a B would be this, and then an A would be this, C, B, A. If I'm already playing a B and I want the A, just put that second finger down. A, B, A, B, A. The C is just this finger with the tone hole in back, with the thumb hole covered. Then you get your C. Now, it would seem a little odd because the C is higher than the B, and yet at the same time, you use your second finger instead of your first. You would think that maybe the higher note would get the first finger, and then it would go down from there. But the way the recorders have been made, and the saxophone is the same way, it's exactly the same way. The C is that middle finger, and then you lift that up for the B, which is below the C. Although it may not seem logical to do that, that's what you do. And then you want the A, you put that down. And then from that, the rest of the scale is every note is another whole tone hole down. G, F, F, E, D. And then the lowest one is that C. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Remember the notes. B, A, G, F, E, D. I used to tell the kids in the school where I taught, remember bag fed, B, A, G, F, E, D. And then if you want the lower C, you just put that extra finger down. If you want the higher C, then you lift everything up except that middle finger, and the thumb hole, of course, in the back has to be covered with that C. Now, it turns out that the way that you play a C major scale on the recorder is exactly the same way as you play the C on the saxophone. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Now, of course, the arrangement of the keys is a little different, and you've got the lower notes on the bell of the saxophone, but it's the same thing. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Remember that C is the middle finger down. If you want the D, which is the note higher, take the thumb off the thumb hole, and you've got your D. Now, I sometimes, as I said before, kind of fudge a little and sometimes make up a fingering. But this is the way that you normally play a D on a recorder. And for the C, you would just put your hand down. You just put your thumb hole down, and then you've got it. Then the next note would be the B. Lift that finger up, put this one down, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So you see, the recorder is a 2-octave instrument. I haven't taught the highest of the high notes with it, but it can get fairly high, but not as high as a flute. And the high C, above the mid-range C, is as high as it's going to get. And this low C here is the same thing as your middle C on a piano. The middle C on the piano is just like that. So the recorder can play many, many notes. And I know I talked with somebody, and she said, well, how can you play something in the key of D if the instrument's in the key of C? Well, so what I explained to everybody, the instruments are made to be in a certain key. This recorder and all of the melody recorders, descant recorders, and even that tenor recorder, the large one that I showed in the last segment, they're in the key of C, but that doesn't mean they can't play music in other keys. With a recorder, you can play in the key of C, the G, which is 1 sharp, the D, which is 2 sharps, and you can play in the key of F, which is 1 flat. And I've shown you with the 5 steps add a sharp, 5 steps add a flat, that kind of thing. That and the circle where you show that, you know, the circle of fifths. I've shown you that. But you can take an instrument in any key and you can play in other keys with it. It just means you have to add the sharps or the flats to make it match what everyone else is doing. That means in some cases, in some orchestras, you might play an instrument where the music has to be transposed into another key, so you will match what's being played by other instruments. But it's really an amazing little instrument. The recorder plays wonderful music. It's not a toy. It's a professional instrument. In Europe, there are a lot of recorder orchestras, and all they play are different types of recorders. They can play music in different keys. It plays classical music. I do all of my own music arranging, and I do a lot of music in classical hymns and so forth, church music, the Messiah, all of that. And I can do it for the most part on recorders. They do have a little limitation in terms of some of the keys they can't play, but most of the keys that are used, they can play, and you can become proficient in those. You just have to know how to do it. And so we can show you that as time goes on. So we don't have much time left. I'm going to close it here, and next time we're going to get into more music and playing music and fingering the notes, so with actual songs that I have written up for this class. So we'll close it here. Please join me next time.